Hello there, and welcome to another video. So I love my 22mm lens that came with my EOS M1, but I was trying to find a lens that was a little bit longer. So 22mm on full frame is equivalent to like 35mm. So this guy's around a 35mm equivalent, which is pretty good, but I wanted something tighter, just not the way I like taking pictures. So I actually got this one off of eBay. Now this is a Minolta Rokkor lens that is a 28mm f2.8. Now it was like 50-60 bucks on Amazon with this adapter. See, here's the adapter as well. I think it's random brand, but yeah. So we're going over today how it performs, but as you can see with the build quality, this thing is amazing. I don't know if this lens is 20 years old, but the focus ring is very smooth, very well damped, and very easily moved. This aperture ring is very easy to use, and you can see it has the markings on it if you want to zone focus, meaning if you set this lens to f8, then you look at the markings that say 8 up here, and if you, for example, set infinity to that 8, that means everything between, what is that, 1.5 meters and infinity are in focus, or 5 feet to infinity are in focus. So that's pretty amazing. There is always a point of maximum focus that's not entirely accurate, that's acceptable focus, but it's still pretty good, and it can be very useful for street shooting. If you bump up your ISO, you switch it to f8, and you go out. So that's another thing I was thinking about. The other thing is, another thing that makes this much more feasible is this EVF, and so EVF is on. I'm going to switch it to the back, but what you can do is, I'll try to show you here. So I'm going to try to focus on my 22mm. As I rotate the focus, it starts having red dots on it, and that means that the focus peaking is showing that my 22mm is in focus. You can zoom in and make sure that the red dots are on it. So hold on, that's out of focus. Bring it back. There we go, in focus. So focus peaking on the M3 plus the external viewfinder, electronic viewfinder, is are huge tools that help you be able to successfully use manual lenses on this thing. So let's go over to the computer and I'll show you some pictures that I took at different apertures. Hi guys, so this is a couple test shots that I took just for comparison. This is actually a photo taken by my Apple iPhone, I think it's a 6, and just to get you a sense of what a camera like that can do. So this is the iPhone 6 shot. I can't get it zoomed in any further than that. You can see it's starting to get grainy with the numbers right in the middle. And if you check out some of the corners, it's actually pretty good. I mean, for an iPhone. Hoping you can tell. It's pretty sludgy. But you know, you have this phone in your pocket, so better than nothing. So this is the iPhone. Let me try to zoom out here. Okay. Let me double check. I think this is the 22 millimeter at f2. Let's see, this one's this is f2.8. So at f2, the 22 millimeter, I think, has a lot more detail. You can actually get a lot closer than the iPhone. Obviously, it's APS-C. The detailing is pretty sharp, and if you go over to the corners, it's pretty sharp, corner to corner. I'm pretty happy with that. So this is the 22 millimeter. This is the 22 mil. That was at f2. This is at 2.8. I'm just gonna speed it up by saying it was sharp all the time. So this is at 2.8. This is part of the corner. Come on. There we go. No, it looks like it's vignetting because of my computer screen, but I don't have any better photo capture software, so sorry about that. Anyways, it looks very sharp. This is again the 22. This is at f4. I would say that this thing peaked around f4. It's so sharp to begin with. It's really not that much more for it to get. I think I just did f8 just to be thorough, but I mean it's pretty sharp. I don't think you can ask much more than that. These are JPEGs straight out of the camera, by the way. I'm just using the Apple Photos app because it's easy for me. So let's see. So this is the 28mm manual f2.8 Minolta Rokkor. So this is wide open at 2.8. So I don't know if you can tell, but I think it looks pretty fuzzy compared. It's still pretty sharp, but it's like there's a slight haze to it compared to the 22mm. It's just, and this also took me a while to manually focus. So it looks like it's vignetting because it's just my screen. Maybe there's some red colored chromatic aberration, pink, and on the other side there's some green. But it's not bad for a 20-year-old lens. Then I think this is f4. I mean, it's not going to show anything. And again, it just looks a little. Maybe you could say the saturation and contrast are decreased a little bit, so it just looks a little hazier to me compared to the 22. There's some chromatic aberrations on that door. That's not that big of a deal. And it's still pretty sharp though, that's the thing. So for a 20-year-old lens, it's pretty good. This is f5.6, I think this is f8, I think that's f11. So let's go to f8 and zoom in. I think the contrast is bumped up, the sharpness contrast is bumped up just a little bit, and it looks pretty good. So to me, this 20-year-old lens is softer than the 22, but not that much, you know. It's still pretty good. So if you have the patience to learn manual focus and you like zone focusing, you can get this thing on eBay for very cheap. Alright, so I hope you could see from some of the pictures that this lens is an interesting alternative that you can try. I don't fault it for being softer than the 22mm because, I mean, it's 20 years older than it. You know, it's much. You know, it's $50 on eBay because it was part of old kits for the old 35mm film cameras. But if you like zone focusing, if you like being a discreet street shooter, you like shooting from the hip, it's really cheap. You could definitely give it a try. I personally would rather just use the 22mm at this point. I got it because it was $50 and I thought it'd be kind of fun, but the pictures just aren't quite as sharp. The contrast isn't a little as good. The saturation isn't quite as good. You can bump those up in post-processing, but the sharpness to me matters a little bit. And again, I don't fault it. I mean, the 22mm is, you know, made 2 years ago, and then this lens was made, what, 20 years ago. It's not really a fair comparison. You take it with a grain of salt, but I think it was worth trying, and there are certain people that will relish the chance to do manual focusing again and have a lot of fun with this lens. And if you're interested in it, then give it a shot. It's definitely worth it. I'm also gonna do a couple more videos soon. I got a 50 millimeter f1.4 in the same mount, and that lens is actually kind of fun because of the f1.4. But I'll do a review of that next, and I'll also do one of a 35 millimeter 1.6 lens that's like a micro lens, which means it is a CCTV camera lens that they repurposed. I don't think that one's as good. These lenses are built to a much higher standard. They're much easier to use. I don't know, the quality of the pictures, the sharpness is better. The micro lens ended up being almost like a tilt shift lens where it wasn't a flat plane of focus because they were so badly made, so I would not recommend that lens. But this lens, I think it's an interesting idea if you want to try it. So keep an eye out for some of my other videos that will be coming up. Alright, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you liked it. Hope you got something out of it.